Yes, my people, what you man telling me? And now we're just going over to NQ. So on the 5 minute chart, we had a very weird candle in it with this low and this high. So essentially, I need price to candle close above either this high or this low. So in this instance, price candle close above this high, and I mean I'm gonna say that's MSP because this candle's higher than the one to the left and the one to the right. And obviously this is a bearish candle. Remember, we need a bullish candle to close below first before taking out the high. So this is a market structure break for me. And when we look at things from our 1 hour chart, we can see that depending on how you see structure, because remember, as I said before, someone might see price as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 4, 5, where price tapped into this unmitigated move origin, and obviously it's had a nice reaction back up from this, potential MSB. Someone else might say that price is bearish, where we are trading from this high and we are trading from this low, and internally all we're doing is just in the pullback phase where price wants to pull back, tapping something on our left, and then make its way back down. So remember, there's a trade both bearish and bullish all the time. This is where we have the SMAs to help us stay on track. It's the green light at a traffic stop. It's the it's the green light at a traffic stop. When SMAs are going against our bias, that's the red light where we have to stop, evaluate, wait for well, in the UK, I don't know if the US is the same thing, but in the UK we have red, amber, green. Some places I know it's just red, green, but for UK, amber. So once the SMAs start to cook and warm up, then that means potentially we have the green light that price is looking to now flip or change an order flow, or now we can potentially get ourselves in. So in this case here, you could say price is bearish based off this zone. You could also say price is bullish based off this bullish zone. It just really depends on what you see. However, due to the SMAs right now, it looks like price is bullish. So what I'm going to be doing is looking for bullish zones. However, remember, the 1 hour chart is just something I use to help for narrative, and I'm still going to go down to my low time frames and see what price is actually doing right now, because I'm a scalper slash intraday trader. So again, so as I said, we've now closed above that high, and then we had a strong candle about now, yeah. So technically we've had SBS now. So we've had our 1, we've had our 2, we've had our 3 where price 3, 4, 5. We are still hovering above the 200 SMA, and I mean, if you draw out your fib from this low to this high, we don't quite tap the 618, as you guys can see for yourself, but we do tap the 50%. But if I draw out my fib from this low to this high, then theoretically you're already tagged in. So it really depends on how and where you're marking out your zones and where you're looking for price to potentially bounce from. Because if you told me that potential price is looking to bounce from here, technically you're not wrong, but technically you're also not right. If that makes sense. If you told me that potential price might wanna bounce from this area, obviously we disrespected it. Technically you're not wrong, but also technically you are not right. Remember, we still look for other things to help us get in specific trades. So in this case here, on a 5 minute, price is bullish. On our 1 minute now, we are below the SMAs, and then if you just let price play out. So I took this trade here, and I had a lot of people question me about this trade because they said it was the first flip from here. And then what you have to understand is that you see this 4 where we had that sweep. On our 1 minute, it's a candle close. On our 5 minute, it's just a area which swept. So when we look at our RSI, we can see that this area is higher, this is lower, and then here this is lower, and this is higher. So what do we use RSI for? RSI is a divergence which helps us confirm if it is a real market structure break or a fake one. So in this case here, we had the RSI divergence, so this is a fake MSB. So if I'm now looking for a trade from, you know, that, what's it called, flip, it is I don't say it is valid, but it is reasonable, because this one here was a fake MSB. It was never ever a real thing, because the RSI had shown me that. And you have to remember, on a higher time frame, all it was just a wick. And you can even see here that, actually no, not in the 5 minute, sorry, but yeah, on the 1 minute, we have the RSI. So cool. So, and bearing in mind, sorry, let me go back to the one. Bearing in mind, on the 1 minute, technically this is a bearish zone, right? So if that's a bearish zone, and this is the protected high, and this is the weak low, like through this, right now what we're doing, we're in the pullback, and you guys can see for yourself, because we made a high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So that's the first indication that price has potentially flipped, or in this situation here, that we're just in a pullback leg. Remember, if you have context behind what you're looking for, there's no real right or wrong answer to the context of what you're looking for. Your stop's going to do that for you very quickly, and obviously okay, cool, my bias was wrong, and obviously you reevaluate, and then you go again. So sorry again, I keep switching over, but so we had SBS here, where this candle was my 1, this candle was my 2, this candle was my 3, 4, 5, and then obviously if I drop my 5th from this low to this high, we don't quite tap the, what's it called, 618, which is cool, but you can see that this is an area of supply and demand. So there's always a chance that, what's it called, price is going to tap in here and obviously make its way higher, and then obviously that was the case, and then price shoots up with flying colors, and then yeah, so you can see over here that I took the trade. Yes, I was trading on my phone. Do I advise it? Absolutely not. But I saw the setup, traded the setup, had my stops in place, made my stops, and then obviously this was a winner for me. Obviously I reduced my risk, so I wasn't gonna make much, but also wasn't gonna lose much if this trade was a loser. And obviously I was on the right side of the market today. So a lot of people ask me, what was my entry confirmation? So this was an area of supply and demand. That's number 1. Number 2, we're at an area of support and resistance. I don't know if my actually no. We're at an area of support and resistance. So there's always a chance that price might respect this level, because if I just drag it to the side, we can see this is a level where price tends to either bounce from or react from. You can also say this is an area of point of control, POC, where it's a point of control, it's in the name. But yeah, so an area of support and resistance above the SMAs, and then what's it called, we have IB candle here. That's option number 1. Option number 2, there was a CSS on the lower time frame. I can't really show you here. Unfortunately. Yeah, but there was a CSS. There was a CSS here, but I entered off CSS, but on a lower time frame. Well, I'll just say S&D flip, where price closed above this. We came back, tapped. I know she shot up. Obviously, I can't show you, yeah, because it's the 1 minute chart. But that was the entry confirmation that I used to get myself out of this trade here. But either way, IB worked here. There's no real proper CSS, but yeah, there's no real proper CSS if I want to be completely honest on the 1 minute chart. But if you go to the 5 minute chart, let's see what's going on. We can see that price is above the SMA. You can see where price had that sweep, and then obviously potentially you might be using this imbalance as the cue. I don't know what you potentially use to try and get yourself in. But yeah, price ends up taking out the high. What's the time? Just double check. Yeah, so price ended up taking this high. Clear my charts. Yeah, so price ended up taking out this high here, and there was a trade within here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can even say SBS model 1. If you go to a 1 minute chart, it does look just a tiny little bit better, and then you're still trading the continuation. And then obviously you can see how this is an area of supply and demand, or you could say this was the SNDR. So as I said, the SNDR and the unmitigated move origin in the group chat in the Discord group are the two strongest areas. These are my areas of interest. Price tends to bounce from either the SNDR, and if you don't bounce from the SNDR because it's a weak SNDR, then we tend to come back and bounce from the origin, unmitigated move origin. And if that doesn't happen, then more or less the low gets disrespected, where potentially you might want to be tapping into something deeper and then making our way back higher, or we just keep dumping. I don't make the rules for this. But yeah, so normally if it's a good SNDR, the SNDR will take out the high. So the SNDR will take out our previous high, which is our number 3 in this case here. And obviously that was the case. And then price keeps going higher, but obviously I was off the charts a long time ago, and then you can see that price is bullish, and now potentially might be having an expanded reversal where price now wants to come back, and now potentially this is your 1, this is your 2, this is your 3, 4, 5, where now you're just waiting for a sweep from these lows here, and then you'll start looking for something, hoping that price takes you higher. I mean, you can draw the 5th from this low to this high. You could use that as a confluence as well, or potentially you might draw a 5th from this low to this high, where this ends up being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then again, so this ends up being the sweep. So the protected low of this mini SBS ends up being the sweep, where price might want to tap into something within here and then make its way back higher. But again, we look for the same things over and over and over again. I can't stress it enough. Probably today in terms of gold and NQ, especially gold, I didn't trade gold, but especially gold, today was a good day. In terms of NQ, I think today was very predictable, more or less. In terms of the whole week, this whole week hasn't been the greatest in terms of price action, but today it looked right, it looked bang on. But as I always say, victory belongs to the most tenacious. And wherever you're in the world, I'm wishing you guys a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening, and a good night. And I'll see you lots tomorrow. Love, my people.